Right. Welcome to episode 5 of the Screaming Props podcast. Down here, I'm here with Ed Taylor from RKD Motion.
Hello there.
So you were Red Card Dynamics, you're now rebranding and...
Yeah, no, we're just going through the process now of changing from Red Kite Dynamics to RKD Motion.
Well, yeah, thanks for coming over and spending some time with us. So.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Nice. So you've been in the drone industry for how many years now?
Commercially since 2016.
Okay, cool.
Nice. A few years. It's been a long few years.
Yeah,
it feels like forever.
Yeah.
But no, I've been flying FPV since 2013. So
cool. Long time. So
I feel like
one of the OGs.
Yeah. It was very different back then. Flipping heck. It is not like it is now. There was no YouTube for it.
No.
Barely.
No.
And cost a lot.
Yeah.
Because you blew everything up.
Yeah. There's no capacitors on anything, voltage protection. There was like absolutely none of it.
None
it was
of it.
all.
And the frames were all crap. Sorry.
Yeah.
They were. They were thin.
Very thin. Very basic.
The props were crap. Everything. It was. Different era. But still fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you got into it probably a year or two before I did, and even then it hadn't progressed much. Like I got into it from watching like Mr. Steele videos, and I think he started about the same time as you. I think so. Yeah, it's been interesting following it, and the rapid since COVID particularly, like the uptake and the sort of exposure of it's been massive. Yeah,
I think it's become more accessible to get. I mean, I think that the biggest thing for FPV was the pre-builds.
Yeah, hugely.
Where you could literally buy a pre-built FPV drone and it came 100% done. As in, it's a complete game changer compared to originally, where you sort of had to know a little bit about soldering and how electronics work. Whereas now, just which one do you want? Just pick it, and then it gets delivered, and it's ready to go.
That's it. Yeah.
I think since that happened, it's completely changed.
Yeah, massively.
The FPV world.
Yeah, because you can just buy it all, or buy a couple of them if you know you're going to be using it a lot, or that's definitely what you want to do with it, and then you just go from there and fly and learn. And the simulators as well now, in terms of learning, I spent so much time. You go out, fly, first few flights particularly, you go out, you crash, you go home, tail between your legs. I just want to go rebuild this, stay up late at night, trying to fix it. Not really any tutorials or anything to kind of keep you going. So
it's the sims are amazing now. I mean, especially how easy it is to connect your controller to your computer and actually use the controller you fly with. Yeah, is just amazing and so easy to use. For people starting, I mean, that's the best thing. Just buy a controller. Yeah.
100%.
Buy a controller, buy a sim, and just play on it. And honestly, I reckon if you put 3-4 hours on that, you'll be able to fly.
I think so. Yeah,
straight out.
Yeah,
you'll be able to fly it with no issue at all.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think it'll take a bit longer to master it.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to access.
Yeah, 100% I think there's a lot of nervousness as well when you come from the sim to flying it. I think people, if they go in confident and they know that what translates from the sim, translates well to reality. I think if you trust that, you can do quite well. But like I say, it's just set up ready to go out of the box and off you go. It's pretty cool these days.
Yeah. And there's it's a totally different world. I mean, it's amazing where it is now. I mean, the technology behind it, like the flight controllers, are just so much better than what they were originally. I'm just trying to think now what the KK.
Yeah, it was a KK2, wasn't it? I think
was that it? Yeah. Oh, and it had a little screen on it.
Yeah,
and you did all the setup through this little miniature screen. It was horrible.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the time, it was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But now I think back, I'm like, oh my god, that was horrendous.
Yeah.
It's completely different. It's
basic analog video, CCTV cameras.
And then now with all the DJI stuff,
yeah, it's crazy.
as in it's just insane. I mean, to have you either love it or hate it. I get it for the racers with the analog over the digital side of things, but
yeah, I mean that is changing. Like now, it's kind of the main thing was DJI were the first ones there really. They had Connex as well a while back, but that didn't really take off. But DJI being the sort of first ones to come in with a reliable digital system, but it just didn't play well with the timing systems to do sort of accurate, precise racing with, which is what analog stayed for. Now you've got HD0, which is, it's if you get the goggles and you go in for the full highest FPS you can, it's faster than analog, and it's reasonably reliable now. And then there's other ones coming in which might be potential candidates as well in the future. But it's having enough testing and enough time to bring it into racing where they know they can use it reliably without forcing other people out or causing too many issues and stuff. So
there was so many issues.
Yeah.
With that in the early days of powering on while people are flying.
Oh yeah.
It's not as bad now.
No, it was because it used to be when you powered on. It still is with some video transmitters. When you power them on, they'll just cycle through all the channels at full bandwidth as they power on, and that's what tends to blow people out when you power on. Whereas I think the TBS ones are maybe the immersion RC ones. I can't remember which one was first, but they implemented it where when it powered on, it went straight to the channel you'd set it to.
Right. Okay.
So it was basically as clean a turn on as you could get.
Nice.
But it's still not wise to power on. But you never know. So, but that's cool. So what made you want to start getting into it commercially? Or were you asked to do it commercially and then you were like,
no, not at all. No. So when I set up, even in 2016, when I set up, FPV wasn't really commercially used. No. As in, you'd seen a few things, but it wasn't out there like it is now. No. As in, it'd be real rarity if you saw any of it. And so I set up, but I went for the more traditional heavy lift and Inspire route instead of the FPV. I still loved the FPV side of things, but I found myself enjoying more of the heavy lift. As in, it's a totally different style of filming and what have you, and I think it's a lot more easier to get into the industry rather than the FPV. Don't get me wrong, I know a lot of top pilots who solely just do FPV in the industry, but I feel giving the option of the Inspire and the more traditional style of filming goes a long way on set and get more work from it. Yeah,
that's it. I think there's more opportunities out there. I think for the heavy lift and particularly in the film industry, they're using much more of the overview shots. It's rarely you're getting the very close up FPV shots. So
as I set up, we bought a. What did we get? It was an Inspire 1. God, it flew like crap. It looked awesome when it came out, but it just flew like crap. And then the year later, the Inspire 2 came out just after we set up, and we got that, and it was just like the heavens had opened. It was just flew so amazing. But then I say that now about the Inspire 3 coming up, I'm like, God, the Inspire 2 flies like crap.
It levels up.
So it levels up every single time. But so we set up there, and I've always had an interest in film. So I've done a lot of short films as a grip or a camera operator before, but nothing major. So I knew a lot of the background of film, and so film techniques, the lingo, everything like that. So that, I think, helped when asked about a specific shot. I sort of knew what they were wanting. And then fell into the automotive market. Don't get wrong, who doesn't love cars? I mean, it's one of those things, and especially with the FPV, cars travelling fast, there's some shots you can get that are just absolutely insane with the FPV style. Then went into the automotive, and that's pretty much where I still am now.
Nice, no, that's cool. That's good. So you say you fell into the automotive. What sort of area would you have wanted to push more into, or still want to push more into?
Yeah, I mean, I love filming cars. I mean, the options that you can push towards the director or the DP for style of shot with cars is endless, whether it's with the Inspires, Heavy Lift, or the FPV. You can really go to town with what they want, and they want that fast-paced action shots. So it does come out really well in that aspect of things, but I don't think. No, I think I'm happy with the direction that I've taken with the Autoville side of things. It's an exciting area to be in, especially working with fast cars and everything like that.
Yeah.
If I could push more, I'd probably want to push more with the feature film side of things, because I've done, I think I'm at seven feature films I've worked on now.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing environment. As in, I think anyone who works on films will always agree, as in it's a real buzz while you're on it. Don't get me wrong, the stress is...
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure.
Insane. I mean, if you're thinking about doing quite a technical shot, and if you're on your own, that'd be great. But when you have about 20 to 50 people watching what you're doing, it's a lot of stress. But no, if I could push into it more, if I could push into a different sector, more, it would be feature films, I'd say.
Cool, nice. That's cool. Yeah. So you mentioned like the Inspire 3 and that coming out and things. Is there any other, or that could be the main thing you're looking forward to maybe upgrading to or pushing and using more of in the future? Is there any other drone tech that you think you'd like to see more of or think could be used more?
Currently, with what I've seen we don't have an Inspire 3 yet. We'll probably wait till next year because we haven't had anyone ask us to shoot with one yet. Once people start asking, we want it. We've got no option. We have to change. But I think we're so heavily invested in the 2. Yeah, it's such a big swap over to go to really. Yeah. But no, what would I like to see more of? I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's a real
pretty open question.
Yeah. I mean, it's all pretty awesome. Everything that's out there. Yeah. I don't think that there's anything that is pushing. One thing I haven't got my head around is the cine lifters with gimbals.
Yeah, me either. I can't get it.
I don't get it. I mean, we've done it. We've got a lot of cine lifters. We fly a Red Komodo quite often. But why would you not just use an Inspire? Yeah. As in the shots, I understand. If you're going through a wooded area, I get it. Of course, the pilot will have a lot better vision with goggles on, flying an FPV. But I've also seen, I'm not that impressed with, say, using the DJI RS2 and 3. The 3 is better, but the stuff that's really good is when you have the Movi on, but then you're at 13-inch props, 12S. The massive, monstrous and things. To be honest, you could just put an FPV camera on an Inspire, and fly it, and then you've got the safety and redundancy using GPS and everything. So if something does go wrong, it can sort itself out. Whereas with the, I don't know. So I haven't got my head around that. I don't get me wrong. People have done awesome with it, and I love the stuff that they do. I just can't figure it out.
No, I've definitely seen some examples where I've seen one I've not seen this necessarily seen the footage from it, but I've seen it passing in other footage. So one example is I saw one being used in Latvia for the European Drift Masters.
Yep.
And it was just a panning shot from like a normal camera, but you could just see this Cinelifter with a gimbal on tracking.
Oh, really?
These cars, and I was like, it's a fixed track. You could have just literally set up a rail cam on that corner. You wouldn't even need someone manning it. You could just have it running around, and it would do the same thing as what they were trying to achieve.
It's the one thing that everyone got really excited as soon as Cinelifters came out. Everyone was like, right, push really hard with it, and it did boom. But I think it costs that much to fly a Komodo in the air with, so say you've got $6,500 Komodo, you've got a £1,500 lens on it, you've got a $3,000 Cinelifter. It's a lot of money that could go wrong. So you have to charge a lot of money. But then you have everyone with their GoPros and a 5-inch or a 7-inch. And I can't work it out of...
I think...
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Especially with the Hero 11 now with 10-bit and the 12 having a proper log profile, I guess, is a bit of a step forward in that regards. But just having that 10-bit colour and just the flexibility of that alone.
And to be fair, majority of people these days will be watching it on your mobile phone. I get it. If you're going to be watching it at the cinema, or you're working on a feature film and they want really high resolution, they want a Komodo or whatever you want.
Well, you just want... Well, I think the main thing is you just want full colour control, so you can make the footage match whatever other camera you're using. And that's what you want. So that's where the GoPro would struggle, I think, more than anything. But
it does, but then I've seen some insane results where you'll watch it, fair enough, it's on your mobile phone. You'll watch it on your phone, you're like, is that actually a GoPro? It's that good. The colour, if you get an actual colourist to work it looks absolutely insane. And I think that's the problem Cinelifters have, is the cost to fly a £5,000 camera compared to a £350 GoPro is probably 5-6 times the price for a day rate. And a lot of companies I've noticed are a bit like, we'll just go with the GoPro, which is fine. I've got no issue with that because I feel I can push
you can
the GoPro more. So I can push a 5-inch more.
It's slightly less pressure at the end of it because you've not got all that extra.
And fair enough, you can get insurance for it and all that lot, but I just don't see.
It's all the extra permissions as well. That when you start stepping up to, rather than flying something that's 500, 600, 700 grams, with a GoPro to up to several kilos. When you start putting
I think our 9-inch hex, I think with the Komodo, the DJI transmission system, the lens, battery, everything, I think that's about 4.5 kilograms.
Wow.
That is. So, you wouldn't...
Hefty bird.
Yeah, you wouldn't want it to hit anyone.
No, that's
it.
And
then we've got a 13-inch 12S, which is just a quad, it's not a hex. But that thing is nuts. As in the power that thing has. Even when we've got the Komodo on it, it is just insane how fast it is. As you can hover and just blip the throttle and it'll be 200 feet in the air instantly, as in it is pretty awesome. Mega. So the technology's cool. But implicating it into the industry to make money from is
it's got
the hard curveball of working it out of what's cost effective.
100%. It's one of those, and it's also, when it comes to safety and doing all this stuff and like I say, cost. If it's one of those things where, unless it's like a specific niche thing where they really need it for that, and they need it all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then it's if it's the odd one-off, then fair enough. But it's a lot to invest in just for a one-off or a couple of jobs every now and then.
Yeah, and the amount of people who have rung us up saying, "Oh, can we want the Komodo in the air for a shot?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course we're. Yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely." And then once we actually work out the pricing and everything, they think, or they've had a price from someone with a GoPro. And when we say how much it is for that, they're like, how much? And it's like, well, it's a lot of money to have a crash that you could have with a 5-inch, you could have the exact same with a cine
Yeah.
lifter. So it's really weird. The industry for that.
Yeah.
I can see, as I say, I can see how people use it all the time. I think I'm more up for the naked Black Magics.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think they're good. I think again that runs into a slight. I mean, yeah, it's definitely cheaper than a Komodo to run.
Yeah.
But in terms of, it's still getting up there in cost difference between
Well,
that and
you could buy a pocket for what, 1,500 quid?
Yeah, true.
As in, that's in the realm of not disposable, but it's in the realm of
if
cheap.
you can,
whereas $6,500.
yeah, and you're more likely to be able to sell that because you're saying, right, okay, well, we can do, you can still shoot raw. You've got loads of dynamic range, and you can go, right, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
you
I
can roll out cheaper.
could see, and well, as you've seen from the industry, the amount of people who use the naked Black Magics is huge, because I think that is the way forward. I mean, you see all the Americans using the 13-inch hexes, and they're all flying Harries and everything like that. It's just like, cool. Yeah. It's like,
That's what you want to do.
What was it recently? I saw on Beverly Hills Aerials flying the Arri film.
Yeah, I saw that as
And
well.
it was just like, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. But why?
Yeah. I didn't get it
just
either.
because you can.
Yeah.
Just because you can. And I think that's the big thing that people see is the glitz and glamour of, we can fly this. And yeah, that's cool. But the practical side of it in the industry,
Yeah.
it's very different.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Trying to run out of things to talk about now, but no, we came back onto sort of the industry as a whole anyway, in terms of, so as some listeners will know, I started out with sort of commercial FPV sort of last year, getting into it and hoping to kind of hit the ground running this year. But the start of the year was really difficult in terms of work, and I think there was a lot of things going on economically anyway, and then there was just generally the sort of the industry and how that affected that. Which may have had some bearing, but me going into it being like, oh cool, I'm new to didn't really have this understanding of what the industry was sort of going through at the time. It was like, oh right, I've really not thought, well, it was almost like I not thought this through enough, and was like, oh, the demand isn't as what I thought it would be, and all that sort of thing. So I just wanted to kind of touch back something that we started talking about before we started recording, which was, how the start of the year was for you, what kind of things you've and some of the things you've done this year, which I know were really cool, so maybe talk about those as well.
No, it's been a shit year. I don't think there's any other word to describe it. I mean, we've had some awesome stuff, but you speak to a lot of people in the industry, and the majority of them it's up and down, it's a roller coaster, as in you're either absolutely flat out or you're dead. Whereas last year was quite nice. It was just an even workflow, everything fitted in really nicely. It was a good year last year. Then this year, as I said, the beginning of the year was just like, shit, what am I going to do? Because the phone wasn't ringing and stuff like that. I can get it. It's a hard year to start on, but if you make it this year,
I think
every year after that, hopefully.
I mean, there's always going to be bad years for stuff anyway, and I think it's
this
there are
year,
people
as
who've
you
done really
say,
well this year. I've seen people start out, and it's kind of difficult when you see people starting out with businesses, because you kind of see them going, I've hit the ground running, and you think, oh wow, where these guys come from? They've just started, they're going and do all these amazing things. But actually, when you either speak to them or you kind of speak to other people that work with them, they go, oh no, actually they've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and it's now that they've finally got into a position where they can push it and do it. And I think that's the reality for most people when they start out on any business, is you've got to get to know people, and you've got to.
I mean, it's a really tough thing. I mean, if you're really good at flying, you're an amazing FPV pilot, you can fly every day and not have an issue at all. But trying to get into the industry, it goes back to the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
100%.
And trying to get into the industry from nothing is hard. I mean, I did it. I didn't have any contacts whatsoever. I didn't know I could fly, but I had no idea who to speak to or how to get the business off the ground. And it took, I reckon, a good 4 years easily. Before I started to actually see, or even my name was sort of out there with some clients that they would recommend me, and I could see making progress. It's a hard one, and it's with the CAA, like we were saying earlier, with the CAA changing all the rules in the past year. That's made it all interesting as well, because really anyone can just get a mini, DJI Mini, and go out.
Get your mini, get your insurance, and you can go out and do it, and that's great in a way, because it does open up so many opportunities for people.
It does,
and it makes things more competitive, and it makes things, I guess, people then can push more, sort of like what's happened in photography and videography as a whole, is people then push to a style, and you go with someone who's got a certain style you like, and then that kind of, you build those relationships up that way, rather than it just being like, oh, I fly a drone, or they fly a drone. And I think that will come, but like we were saying before, like the sort of the opinion of people, I think at the moment is just like, oh, we've got a drone operator, or we've got, we don't need another drone operator. Why would we choose you when we've got Larry down the road, sort of thing? There isn't this idea of good, bad. There isn't even an idea of a difference between FPV and VLOS and any of that. So
it's really strange, and as you say, it's once people get used to using a particular person, unless they cock up, they'll just carry on using them. And it's hard then, not to say that it's right to go in and take work from others, but it's a hard way to get in with a company. But I think I've gone in with the approach of arms open to everybody that I meet. That the last thing I'd ever want to do is ruin a reputation between a client and another pilot or anything like that. So I'm really arms open, friendly, and easy to work with, I'd say, in that sense. If you know what I mean. As in, people trust that they can get me in on a job for a one job, and I'm not going to steal your client from you, because I think that's what people fear the most, is if you miss one. And I've had to when we're busy, let a client down, and they've gone elsewhere, and I've never heard back from them because they've got in with another.
They just use them.
So you have to look after, and you have to keep friends in it. And I think people are very closed doors on it all. Like, I don't want to tell you too much. I don't want to let you into my little world.
No, that's it. You kind of just ask a question and trying to break the ice a bit, and it's just like, no. And you just get nothing back.
Exactly. Whatever, so. Whereas I think it should be more open and help a brother out. As in...
because I started this year, and I went in being like, oh, I'm super keen, I'm doing all this, and learned immediately with that kind of... There's that wall that you hit of like, oh, wow, okay, I've kind of pushed too hard and too fast into this, Don't jump straight into the sales. You've got to talk to people and get to know them, and get to know their business, and then you kind of go, actually, is a drone video product or drone filming for their particular shoot or whatever actually what they need, or is it something else that they want to do? And then it gives you an understanding of why they might be so closed off or whatever about it. And then
I mean,
but even just trying to say hello and start a conversation and just be like, oh, cool, I fly drones, I saw your business, looks interesting, and you just say that, and sometimes you can just hear nothing and just be like, oh, it's just all met with like, oh, no thanks.
It's very hard approaching people, as in the best way to do is to get onto social media and make friends in the industry. That is, honestly, if I could give any advice, just be friendly. Don't be, like I've done it on a few jobs where I've wanted to get in with a particular group of filmers or something, and I'll be like, go see them, go out for a meal with them, and take it from there with them. As in, don't say instantly, oh, that's £1,000, please, if you want me to come and work for you.
Yeah.
Make a friend out of it and show them that you're keen, and chuck in a freebie.
Yeah.
But the big thing about the freebie thing is you need to be really strict with it.
Yeah.
And be like, you get one.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah.
That is a really hard area when doing, because people can abuse you.
Yeah,
100%. But it is a good way of getting into these bigger companies. To basically get to approach them.
Yeah, and it's just nice and that you show willing as well. Like, you just like you're not just there to earn a bit of money and disappear. You know,
it depends on what you're going for.
Well, true.
As in, depends on what sector you're going for. I mean, I've been on a shoot where I was doing the heavy lift drone, so I was using the M600. And I wasn't actually. It was really weird. We weren't doing the FPV. They had another company in doing the FPV.
Oh, right.
So the lad who was in doing the FPV, amazing guy. He could fly, everything like that. And I'm not going to say too much, but he didn't have much of an idea of the film side of things.
Yeah.
So the process, and that's what I go back to, like the lingo and the talking on a film set, and knowing your place and knowing who you can talk to and who not to talk to. Basically interrupting people. And you could tell that he was struggling with. He was excited of what he was doing, but he struggled with the film side of things.
The etiquette.
The etiquette. Yeah, exactly. So there's so much to learn from it. So that's why I say, depends on what area you want to go into. You need to do your research on what you're going to do when you actually get the job. Yeah. And how you're going to talk and act and know your place.
That's it,
so I mean, it's a real minefield out there.
It is, yeah. It is crazy, but I think that's another thing I tried to do this year, was kind of go and do everything, like offering drone tours, offering to do drone filming, offering to do car chases, motorsport, whatever. And it kind of got 6 months in, and I was like, I am spreading myself way too thin.
Offering so many different services. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, it's kind of obviously FPV and has a lot of applications now, and that's just FPV on its own before you talk about any other drone filming and things. So it was, if I'm offering all this FPV stuff and I'm just kind of spreading myself out too thin, and you're trying to, and some things you kind of go, okay, get known for FPV, and then you'll get all these, or there's potential opportunities to do work in many different fields. But I feel like now, having tried to get on that approach, and sort of coming in, not knowing many people and not knowing many people in different industries, I've kind of now whittled it down to like 2 or 3 things that I really want to do, and I'm going to now push solely into those, I think, more than anything else.
Which, know what you want to do.
Yeah.
And get good at those aspects.
I wouldn't say it was niching down, but it's definitely because it's more broad than that, but it's definitely that sort of type of thing where you go, right, I'm going to be known for doing these selection of things. Like you have your contacts in automotive, so it's like, okay, we'll go to Ed for automotive stuff because he's the guy. So
I mean that's the best way to think of it. I mean, I wouldn't turn work down if it came. I mean,
if you've got you got the availability and it's there, and
exactly. But if you could build, I suppose it's really building your name. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all doing, isn't it? It's all you want to try and do. And I think social media, I mean, has changed so much in the past year and a half, i.e. Instagram changing, and just basically the short videos, it's really taken a hit from the way I used to promote myself with photos and BTS. Yeah. Because that's all I loved looking at, was behind the scenes of people on shoots and everything like that. So I thought, I'm just going to share stuff like that. But then now that it's all video, content and photos are sort of
Yeah.
dying off, it's got to change the way I advertise myself through social media now.
Yeah, that's it. I think the behind the scenes stuff is still big though, because if you look at even like feature films, if you look, we come back to sort of what Beverly Hills Aerials were doing with the Arri film camera on the heavy rig. It's like if they'd linked that in with the film they were working on, they probably couldn't because it was obviously closed off when they were doing it. But if it's after the fact the film's come out, they go, oh yeah, we shot this with this for this film. That then becomes part of the marketing for the whole film, and you see that with kind of some of the some like the James Cameron, Christopher Nolan, like you see the behind the scenes stuff, particularly when you had things like ambulance and stuff coming, and particularly for me, that's how I kind of became aware of the film, because of the FPV stuff that was in it and the following of drones. And when you start to reach people's interest with a film, you actually push it out much further than if you just launch a trailer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I love BTS. Yeah, because it's that raw side, and as you say, if you can finally get the actual taken shot of the BTS, winner. Yeah. But then the NDAs covering whether you're allowed to share it. And
there's that.
Yeah, it's a real pain in the ass. As in, we last December we went and did a Aldi shoot in Lanzarote. Yeah. And you can see it's on the social media now, but there's a specific shot where we were diving from quite high up on the coastline to behind the Audi Q8, I think it was, e-tron. Right. And the director was so adamant of that's the shot that I want, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And did the dive really high up, went into behind it, saw it after we shot it, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. Yeah. It looks okay. And then it was about 3-4 weeks later that they sent us a message saying, oh, do you want to see that shot now? And that's after post effects had gone in, and then now it's got clouds in it that weren't there. If you watch it, the clouds weren't actually there. As in, it was a blue, there wasn't a single cloud in the sky. Yeah. And once I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I want to share this. And I think it was like 6-7 months time before we could share any of it. So it's getting that excitement of, that's a really cool shot, but I can't show anyone it.
No, that's it. Yeah.
And it's like that always. So you just literally, like we did another shoot the other month for a feature film near York actually, and it was a really technical shot. It was the final take of the film, and just trying to think. I can't give it. I don't know how much I could say. But it was a really technical shot, because the talent, there was a big oak tree. Right. The talent were underneath the oak tree. We shot it on the Inspire 2, and the Inspire 2 had to start, I think it was about 3 meters under the canopy of the oak tree. Right. So there was about a meter above the drone and a meter below the drone. Wow. So really tight. And then you had 6 actors there. And the shot was to pull out from underneath the tree and then go to the right of the tree and then rise up. The problem was there was about 3 meters gap between the tree and the crew, so all the grips with the lighting, everything like that. So it was, even though we're in the middle of a field, away from everything, suddenly the whole film production pushed into this shot. And yeah, that was really scary. Yeah. Going back to the thing of, it's fine when you're on your own, but when there was probably about 50-60 people there,
and they're all right in,
in. But the shot, you can tell when you've done it, and the director is like, he's buzzing. Doesn't matter whether I thought it was good or bad. Yeah. As long as he was like jumping around, I was like, yep, that's it. It did take about 3 or 4 takes, but it looks absolutely awesome in the end. But you can't share any of it.
No.
Going to the point. So it's a real.
Yeah, I do think that, like, even when you, if you can say, if you can put in the caption like, oh, shooting for X, or working with a big production company that people know, say you're like, oh, working with BBC or ITV or whatever, doing, working on a shoot, and you've kind of got a clip behind you prepping the drone or something, and then I think even if it's people doing camera stuff, I think that as BTS alone is enough for me to go, oh, I'm intrigued now. Like, I'll look out for see what this program is like in the future and things.
I love it, but I got beaten down by it by a couple of people saying to us, "Oh, you never share any of the actual footage and all stuff. It's just BTS." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, because I've forgotten about it." By when it comes out, when I'm allowed to do it, it's like, oh I should share that now. So yeah, I just love the BTS side of things, and it's awesome. See, even doesn't matter whether it's to do with drones or what have you. Just seeing the behind the scenes of how film is made and how commercials are made.
Yeah,
who wouldn't want to be involved with that? It just it's such a amazing industry to be in. I think people see the glitz and glamour of travelling to all these places and filming. What they don't see is how tiring it is.
Yeah.
As in, we did a shoot the other week, and I had to drive to South Tuscany, and that was a constant drive. It took about 26 hours to drive the van there. And when we got there, we were getting up at about 4 a.m. and getting back to the hotel anywhere between 11 and 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And that's for like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So, as I say, it on the face of everything, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is so tiring, and it's just knackering. Doing it all. Yeah,
I had a similar experience when I went to Spain earlier in the year, filming some motorbike track days, and it was like a couple of 3 or 4 days on track.
Yeah.
And, like I say, you get there early in the morning because you want to get the sunrise shots, you want to get all the stuff for the circuit and everything, and then you go, right, okay, getting the bikes prepped. So you're filming basically from 7-8 o'clock in the morning, and you're just there running around doing different things, especially on a circuit as well. I've been to the 2 Spanish ones I've been to now, Guadix and Cartagena.
Right.
And both of those have pretty forgiving access for getting around the circuit. So it's not like you've got to run around the entire perimeter to get to anything. There's a kind of weaving underpass. Yeah. Especially at Cartagena, there's like weaving underpasses and bits and pieces. And the sessions, the way they worked at Guadix, were that you could... you wear a radio and we could talk to the race tower and we could be like, can we cross at this point or whatever? And they were like, fine, totally cool. They were just like, watch out for snakes. Like, it was loads of snakes out there apparently. We didn't know until like the second day, and they're like, oh no. We were like, oh Christ.
Yeah, great.
But no, that was the thing, is that you're there, and then you're there till 10 o'clock at night once everything's wrapped up, and then you've got to go back to the hotel, sort out all your footage from that day, because no doubt you've filled up loads of cards, batteries are dead, got to charge up.
Got to eat,
yeah.
Yep.
So like you say, by then you go to bed 1, 2 a.m. Back up again 4, 5, 6 o'clock just to get to the track. But
it's knackering,
hard
isn't
work.
it?
And then you've flown out there, so you've already had a long day travelling usually because of airline delays and all sorts of other things.
But it is tiring, but we still love it.
Yeah,
we still do it.
Yeah,
as in it's an amazing thing to do, and
it's a great way to see the world as well, especially if you're going to new places.
Yeah, of course, but it is just people like friends and family are like, oh wow, look where you're going, and look what look who you're meeting, look what car you're filming.
Yeah,
and it's like, I think I forget all that side of things, and all I see now is
the effort.
I'm shattered.
Yeah,
that was a long shoot. That. So it's a big.
And it's the glitz and glamour of like, oh, you're going to this place. It's like, I'm going to that place. Yeah. But I'm actually going to be several hundred miles out of this city in the middle of nowhere, and I'm going to be in that same place 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm not going to actually see any of the country at all, except for the airport in and out. I'll go to the duty free and I might buy something.
Yeah, I mean, that literally is it. As in, we fly in, we do the job, and we fly out. It's very rare that we'll have a down day or a rest day out there. Yeah. Normally it's just straight work all the time. I mean, it's a tough one to get your head around. But
Yeah.
it is awesome. As in, it's a. You think back over the years of like if I could have said to myself 6-7 years ago when I set up the clients that I've worked for, I'd have been jumping around the room.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, no way, no way. As in, we've just had a week out to say the Tuscany one. That's for Pagani.
Yeah.
Filming a £5 million Utopia.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's, as I say, if you'd asked me that 6 years ago, I'd be like, as if. I mean, it's just insane. Some of the jobs you can get, as in, but that's, I mean, you need to fuel yourself starting out with. Yeah. That's what I want to do. I want to do this, and you need to set yourself your goals, but then you also need to know what your goals are.
Yeah.
As in, you need to think, who do I want to be working for?
Yeah,
in 6 months or 5 years' time. What sort of clients do I want to be working for? And if you just make, like, say, 2 or 3, work really hard on trying to achieve those 2 or 3 clients.
Yeah.
And work ways of, who do I need to know?
Yeah, what's the stepping stones to get to that point? Yeah.
And it's always those random, like now it's the random phone call of, oh, Ed, we need you to film this out of the complete blue.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, bloody hell, that's pretty awesome, that. As in, I've also been on the other side of being called and be like, oh, could you come and film this? The funniest one was a pig abattoir down south. And it's like, oh, right, yeah, great, yeah, okay. As long as you're paying, whatever.
Yeah, this is my rate.
So it's not all amazing. I have done some suspect
interesting ones. Yeah. So was the Pagani one? Was that an out of the blue? Or was that something?
No, I knew about that. I think it was beginning of this year when I was first contacted. Weirdly enough, actually, I had time to plan this.
Nice. Yeah.
But I was actually the DP on that shoot, so I wasn't just the drone operator. I DP'd.
You ran the whole show.
The whole thing, which was amazing, stressful, but amazing. So we had a lot of time to plan for that, because there was a lot of planning.
Yes.
And that, of course, had its problems when we got there. I think the worst, am I allowed to say this? The worst bit was the accommodation. Sorry, not the accommodation. The shoot location was a villa in South Tuscany. And I don't know if you've ever been. If anyone's been to South Tuscany, you know what the roads are like, and they're just gravel tracks to a house. And this location had about a mile-long gravel track. It was on a hill. It was in my car. I wouldn't care. As in, But in a £5 million Pagani, it was they turned up, and we thought the car was coming on a wagon,
right?
But they didn't. They drove it there. So we turned up at location on I think it was the third day. Sorry, at the house location. And they literally stopped and said, we can't get the car down there. And we're like, what do you mean you can't get the car down there? Christ. And I think it was about 9 o'clock at this point. And I think we were stood on the side of the road in the middle of absolute nowhere. And it was 1 a.m. at this point now. We've been out there 3-4 hours, just like, how are we going to do it? It's Sunday the day after. So one idea was contact a company to get a low loader out there and get it up, but then the guys from Pagani were like, no, we're not having it on a low loader. You're going to have to find an alternative location, which we're like, there is no alternative. As in, we've got the car, we need to shoot it. So it was a bit complicated. We did sort it in the end. I can't say how we sorted it, but
that's fair.
We did.
Magician doesn't reveal his secrets.
It was a long one. I think that night we arrived at the hotel at about 3 a.m.
Wow.
So it was
a long, stressful day.
Yeah, but what a dream. I mean, that car is nuts. I mean, that is. I don't know how I'm going to top that now. what I'm worried about is
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I've done that.
And DPing for that
Yeah,
as well.
no,
It's not just like a
yeah,
career. You know, you could have just done the drone stuff and be like, oh wow, it would be cool to actually be more
Yeah.
involved and hands-on in that project.
Yeah.
But you've got that now. You've kind
Yeah.
of ticked
I mean,
that box.
I mean, going back to the whole things of me changing my career path, it's not really changing my career path. What people didn't know, so we set up Red Kite Dynamics,
Yeah.
which was solely drones.
Yeah.
But as I say, I've always been into motion, so gimbals, remote head operations, car rigs, bike rigs, everything like that. So I've always had that side of the business, and it was only in the past, I don't know, 6 months that we decided to rebrand
Nice.
the company, because we thought that we were just getting known for just the drones.
Right. Yeah.
But it's quite a lot more that we do. Like our latest one's the camera bike, which is a Talaria Sting electric bike. Looks like a motocross.
Yeah.
And we just redesigned it to have scaffolding on it, basically,
Cool.
and have the camera on the front of it. Look, it's absolutely awesome. So that's the other side of stuff that we do. So it's not just drones. So that's why.
And it's good to have that diversification as well in terms of opportunities and keeping the business
My bank
going.
balance doesn't flip in like
No, you've got to invest in the kit. But
it is, and that's another thing about the whole drone side of things. It is not cheap.
No.
It is. I mean, yeah, you can get cheap drones and all that stuff, but once you start doing big shoots, you can't just turn up with one drone.
No, that's it.
You need to have 2 of each.
Backup everything.
Yeah.
Backup radio.
Exactly. Yeah,
all sorts.
And it just suddenly starts getting expensive, and then with technology changing, I mean, it changes so fast in the drone world. I feel like it's always, we need to
You got to keep up with it.
buy
Yeah.
this and buy that, and it gets really, really expensive. But that's why we charge a lot.
Yeah. That's it.
We're there to make a living. We're not there to do it for free and enjoy it.
No, and I think that's one thing I think and it always helps when and you get it when you talk to potential clients and they're like, well, how much would that cost? And you go, well, it costs this, and they go, oh, why is it that much? Or it's like, I've found some cheaper quotes. It's like, well, each person has their own cost for what it's going to cost to run their business, and I feel like there is some commonality I think across a lot of the drone industry in terms of, because everyone's buying the same kit, so the cost of the kit is the same, and what people choose to let that out for is.
I mean, the
is
scary
up to them,
thing is the Inspire 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people who have sold heavy lift drones that they've solely used for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And
just invested straight in that.
Got rid of all of their heavy lift drones and gone straight to the Inspire 3 because they just say, what's the point?
Yeah.
As in
Everyone wants the Inspire 3.
Yeah, so. As in, so you could be flying an £80,000 setup, minimum you could go 150,000, and the Inspire 3 is close to the same quality that you get.
Yeah.
So as I say, I know several people who have sold all their heavy lifts and just bought Inspires, which is nuts. I mean, hats off to DJI for that. As in,
I mean,
the control you now have with the Inspire 3 is just unbelievable. I mean, it's completely different to the Inspire 1. Flipping heck. Shot that thing in the bin.
Yeah.
Have you ever flown one?
I've never flown one, but all I've heard is terrible tales, so that's kind of put me off.
How does it fly? It's such a horrible.
In fact, the most footage I've seen of Inspires being flown is usually those videos where they kind of go out of control and you see like the random ones where they just do their own thing for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've still got 2 of the Inspire ones. I'm sure I've still got 2. They're definitely covered in dust because as soon as we got the Inspire 2, whenever it was, we never got it back out. The Inspire ones, because they're horrible to fly. You can't get any beautiful shots personally with them. Yeah. But then, go back to the same thing. Inspire 2 came out, and everyone was just insane. But then now, after using that for 5-6 years, it's like that flies like crap. That does. It drifts. Oh, it's just horrendous at drifting. As much as you play around with it, and it bobbles up and down. Yeah, it's just not great, and that's where the Inspire 3 has just come in and destroyed it.
Nice.
As in, doesn't drift, doesn't bobble up and down. It is locked in, which is just insane.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. As in, it'll be nice to see what happens over the next year or so.
Yeah.
With that side of things.
Yeah. I have seen since the Inspire 3's come out. Definitely, it was kind of just before it was coming out. I think as well. I saw people start doing it. Or they started doing FPV Inspire 2s.
Yep.
And then
what was that, the naked ones? Or do you mean?
So that was an Inspire 2 that they literally just put an FPV setup on.
Oh right, okay,
around.
yeah,
so
yeah,
that was kind of the basic. But then I've seen sort of the naked setup where they're taking the Inspire 2 camera setup and sort of internals, boxing it up in a different package, stick it on FPV drone, and then which is a cool setup, and I think that's a cool way of doing it because it's a good camera.
I'd love to give it a go.
Yeah,
as I said, I think it'd be interesting to see, because of course the Inspire 2 I don't think can handle the speed of a cine lifter if you're giving it a lot. I don't think the gimbal could handle being thrown around that much. But for stabilised shots, I'd love to have a go on a cine lifter with an Inspire 2, naked Inspire 2 on, because I bet that'd be awesome. I mean, the noises cine lifters make are just epic. Oh, I love it. Honestly, I love it. As in, they just sound like, the bigger you get with drones, I think the better they sound.
Yeah, definitely.
The smaller you get, the horrible they
sound.
So going from a 5-inch to a 9-inch, you hear the difference. I mean, then if you go up to the heavy lifter drones, God, they just sound like they're just such
helicopters.
They're such a deep prop noise. As in, it's awesome.
Nice.
It's cool.
That's cool. No, cool. Well, thanks, Ed. Done a good hour of talking and going through stuff. It's been cool. I'm sure we could talk about loads more stuff, but yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. And wish you luck on the rest of the year, and hopefully more to come from RKD Motion. And
awesome. Cheers, Dan.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for having us on.
Cool.